Ωραία. Κόλλησε.
Can you hear me? I cannot hear you.
But now you can hear me.
Oh, we're good.
Welcome, Hannah. How are you?
Good. How are you doing this afternoon?
Hannah, where are you based? Are you in Italy? Somewhere in Italy?
I am. I'm in Florence.
Okay, in Florence. Okay. This is one of my next trips.
Definitely.
A road trip around Florence to explore all these amazing destinations.
Wonderful.
And we are happy that Italy will be back in a while with us. I think.
We can switch. I'm dying to go to Athens again.
Okay, perfect. When are you opening your hotels in Italy?
They're slowly been opening between June 1st and June 15th. So
okay.
slowly we're good.
As you are involved with the data and statistics, can you see an increase of demand of international travelers?
So far, we're seeing some from especially the UK, but mostly it's domestic. We're seeing a lot of domestic travelers, which makes sense.
Yes, I guess. So, Anna, we have some participants here in Zoom, but I will make the live through social because it will be broadcasted.
Wonderful.
I can see some of the people are sending us in the chat. Hello, everybody. I think this is our last one international webinar for this month. And then Hannah, we will return in October with a big event with many webinars with big international speakers. So you can say hi to our audience in Zoom till I will make the connection to social and I will welcome you officially again. Okay?
Sounds good. Hi, everyone.
So. Hannah, can you hear me?
I can.
Okay, you're here. Okay, perfect. So how is the weather in Italy now?
Today it's beautiful. It's about 30 sunny, but then we go from, rain, thunderstorms, and then beautiful sunny days. So right now we're in a strange period.
Yeah, it's in Greece the same, more or less. Really the same, but we are everybody in a summer mood and we want to go.
Exactly. It feels like summer.
We want to go for holidays.
Exactly.
So now I think that we are okay. Now we are live on social media. We are live on Facebook. Hello, Hannah. Welcome in Hotelier Academy live webinars. We are very happy that you're here with us. This is our last international webinar at Hotelier Academy for June. I would like to welcome everybody from abroad and from Greece in our webinar today. People that will be watching us through social media or here from Zoom. We have some messages in our chat box, in the inbox here. I'm very happy that we have you together here in Hotelier Academy because I like your company a lot. It's another approach about statistics, data, and reputation. And it's very interesting to hear your point of view because you have a very interesting solution. You have a clear view on the data and on what travelers are searching for and how the reputation affects the bookings. So I think that our audience will find this webinar very, very useful. I will close my camera and my microphone and I will give it to you so you can handle all the webinar and you can share with us all the information. Let me allow you to share your presentation, Hannah. I will stay with you till you open your PDF so you can share it and I will shut down my camera.
All right, let me know if you can see it.
Yes, we can see it. So you can choose the full mode so as not to see the pages of yeah. So
all right. We're good to go?
okay, perfect. So Hannah, I'm closing the camera and you have all the game at your hands. Goodbye from me.
Nikos. Talk to you later. All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. A huge thank you to Nikos and the Hotelier Academy for inviting us and letting us participate. It's a wonderful initiative for the industry, especially during these times. First and foremost, I hope everyone who's listening, your family, your friends, your coworkers are all doing well and safe. I hope you're all excited as we're starting kind of the reopening phase here. I'm based in Florence, Italy, so things are definitely starting to pick up. Hopefully the same is happening where you're based as well. So as Nikos mentioned, today I'll be discussing hotel online reputation and how it affects your hotel's profitability. So just a quick recap, my name is Hannah Babineau. I'm the International Marketing and Events Manager at the Data Appeal Company. We're headquartered in Florence, Italy. We also have an office in Milan as well. Perhaps you've heard of our subsidiary Travel Appeal. It's entirely dedicated to the tourism and hospitality industries. We're also the coordinator of HICON, which is the Hospitality Innovation Conference, which is in Milan every December. Last year, we welcomed a few members from the Hotelier Academy, and we're excited to welcome them back as well this year. It's a wonderful event, kind of a meeting of the minds between technology, innovation, hotels, whether it's an individual property or the chain hotels and the larger groups. So it's a wonderful event that we're looking forward to getting started with. Throughout the presentation, if there's any questions, just raise a hand. If not, we can have a formal Q&A at the end. I would like to get started today with one of my favorite quotes, which really resonates who Travel Appeal is at the core. And that is, you can't buy a good reputation, you must earn it. So what we're all about is reputation management. It's not something that happens overnight, and it's something that takes long to curate and to build. So we'll go in to that deeper. So here's just a quick overview of what we'll be discussing today. So we'll start out with reputation, perception, and reviews, and then go on to everyone's favorite topic, which is negative feedback and complaints, with a few best practices, how to avoid them. Then we'll go on to expectations, where they come from, and the human factor. Then I'll segue into reputation and revenue. So what reputation, what reviews mean for your bottom line. And then just a quick sort of overview of Travel Appeal. So what we're doing for reputation management and how we're leveraging data and online content to help hotels create the perfect guest experience. Then I'll go in quickly for our latest development, which is the COVID Safety Index. Something quite relevant, especially now. And then we'll wrap up with a Q&A session. So let's get started with reputation, perception, and reviews. So I wouldn't be doing reputation justice if I didn't go into the two other important R's, which are ranking and rating. So ranking is the order your business is perceived related to competitors. So that's when you see on websites, OTAs, or review sites such as TripAdvisor, you'll see a lot of the time the top 5, the top 10, etc. So that's how your property is categorized in relation to those competitors. While rating, on the other hand, is the value that your hotel is awarded by customers. So that could be on a 5-point scale or a 5-star scale. In the example of Booking.com, it's out of 10. Other sites, it's out of 100. So it's important to kind of keep in mind, okay, what scale is being used for the platform where my property is active, so I can keep a close eye on it. Because you'd hate to be, oh yeah, I'm a 5 out of 5 when really it's a 5 out of 10. So keep that in mind. And those two, how they go into creating your reputation, which, just a quick definition, is the overall opinions about your business. So let's go into it. Reputation is built on customer perception. Each and every interaction, both online and offline, contributes to your overall reputation. So online, how are you interacting with your clients on social media? How are they interacting with your property on your direct website, or also the websites such as OTAs, or on other clients, other guests when they're sharing on social media, if there's a hashtag or just a geolocation check-in. And then the offline experience. So how are you greeting hotels when they come? Is there parking available? What sort of room service is there? Is there a gym or spa options, etc.? So all those tiny little factors go into creating that customer perception, which then in turn builds your reputation. So just getting started with 2 quick stats. The first is that the average consumer spends 13 minutes and 45 seconds reading reviews before they make their decision. So that's quite a lot of time that your potential guests are going through OTA channels or different review channels, seeing what other customers have posted about your business. And among those customers that read the reviews, 97% of them also read the responses that businesses reply. So whether it's good feedback or negative comments, how are hotels interacting with customers? If it is a complaint, are they finding a solution to the problem and taking accountability for what happened, etc. So all those little details go into kind of your make or break in the importance of reviews. So we like to say at Travel Appeal that reviews, online reviews, are currency for businesses. They're invaluable because people trust them as much as personal recommendations. So reviews and what people say about your hotel or your property on the internet develop your reputation, while word of mouth and customer engagement build it. So building your reputation is really twofold. It's what happens kind of at your property or at those touch points, whether it's online or offline. And then in turn, when your customers and your guests share online or share with their friends and their family through word of mouth, all those tiny little interactions go into creating that customer perception, in turn develops your reputation. So it is something that is intangible. It's hard to measure year over year or compare my reputation against a competitor's reputation. But it is imperative for a business to keep in mind. It is a KPI that isn't exactly measurable, but it is a KPI that you must kind of keep in the back of your mind, always work towards, always make sure that you can improve it and enhance it, and making sure that if there are any, if there's an influx of negative comments, how can we react to those? What can we pinpoint to see, okay, this is what's going on, and how can we make the situation better? How can we, or on the other hand, how can we exploit what we're doing well to our advantage and really uncover that competitive advantage to kind of climb the rankings or to improve our rating? A few more statistics that we love. We work for the data appeal company, so we love numbers. So the first is referrals are the #1 most common source of new leads for businesses around the world. The second is 93% of consumers say online reviews have an impact on their purchasing decisions. That's huge. That's almost every consumer right there will look at an online review. And when they do, that goes into impacting whether or not they move forward with that purchase. The third is 88% of travelers filter out hotels with an average rating below 3 out of 5 stars. So sorry for hotels out there with 1 or 2 stars, but unfortunately your potential clients are not giving you the time of day. They're automatically filtering out those reviews. Those hotels, And the fourth is 86% of consumers trust online reviews as much as personal recommendations. So that's really important to keep in mind. So even though a potential client might not know a reviewer, they're looking to them for advice and for guidance, whether or not they want to invest their time and their money at your property based on a past guest experience. So let's go into everyone's favorite subject, which is negative feedback and complaints. They are inevitable, but I do have some tips on how we can avoid them and what you can do when you do get them. I wanted to start off with a quick study that we did at Travel Appeal, where we looked at over 1 million online reviews from Italian accommodation properties. So hotels, agriturismos, bed and breakfasts, etc. And from there, our semantic engine analyzed the top 10 complaints. So I'm going to share with you today the top 3. The first might not come as a surprise. It's rooms. It's where the guest spends the majority of their time, and they were in 30% of negative reviews. The words that were used the most were small, dated, little space, noisy, and cold. So we'll go into 2 and 3 later. Let's go into rooms. So of course, little can be done to change the physical structure. I'm not telling you knock a wall down, make the rooms bigger, because that's quite impractical. However, there's 3 tips that you can keep in mind to prevent negative reviews about rooms. And the first is clearly indicate the dimensions of the room, both on your direct website and also on OTAs. So on booking.com, Expedia, Kayak, etc. When you have that expectation set up front, your customers will know, okay, it's this square footage or this square meters. It won't come as a surprise when they get there. The second is set prices accordingly. So if you do have smaller rooms that do tend to generate complaints, it might be worth it to create a new category, such as economy or value, for those rate-sensitive guests that want a less costly option and want that price to quality ratio. The third, as a marketer myself, I enjoy it, and that's channel your inner storyteller. So that's where you can take the opportunity to tell the story about your property. We do have that advantage in Europe, especially Greece, especially Italy. A lot of our properties were built hundreds of years ago, if not more than hundreds of years ago. And we want to keep up that history and tradition and respect the original condition and the remains of that building. So create a story, say that it was built at the peak of the 16th century. We're lucky in Florence, we can use the Renaissance kind of as our backstory, but surely in Greece, you have the same sort of history as well. So going back to our number 2, which is breakfast. The words used to describe were poor, not good, improvable, limited, and not up to standards. So breakfast is one of my favorites because breakfast can mean so many different things to so many different people. In Italy, a quality breakfast is a croissant and a coffee, usually, while in England, an English breakfast with eggs and, pancakes, scones, sausage, we kind of expect as an Anglo-Saxon culture to have a little bit larger breakfast and more options. Doesn't mean the other is bad. It just means our expectations and our cultures are different. And it is an opportunity for you to start each day off kind of on the right foot. It's how guests will start their interaction with your hotel. It's the first thing that they do in the morning. And we recommend, if you're not sure how to create kind of the perfect breakfast, because it is impractical to offer everything to everyone, it's also quite costly, look to see what your competitors are doing. On different websites like TripAdvisor or Booking.com, you're able to filter out by topic. So look at breakfast and look at not only the best reviews, but look at the worst reviews as well that they're getting directly relating to breakfast, so you can create your offer accordingly. And the third, we had staff. So that's all members of your hotel. The words that were used were unfriendly and cold, uneducated, unavailable, unprofessional, and unhelpful. So with staff, it's something that is really kind of a top to down approach. We like to use words transparency, honesty. Make sure that all of your staff, from housekeeping, the receptionist, concierge, room service, that they're all aware of kind of your online reviews. So most reviews will touch one of those subjects. So share with them the top ones to see what they're doing well, and share with them the negative reviews to see what they can improve on. I wanted to share a quick hotelier insight with one of our hoteliers here in Florence. And a few years ago, their hotel had a few renovations going on, And they were really upfront and honest with with potential guests on their website to say, prices are lower because we are undergoing a renovation. And every time they were able to communicate that with guests, the guests appreciated it, instead of kind of blindsiding them once they got there to surprise, we're under construction. So just it's a takeaway that sincerity always wins, especially during this time. I know a lot of hotels were using this as an opportunity to make renovations or a few adjustments on their hotels without having the flux of guests there. So if you are still under construction or there are still improvements going on, be honest and be transparent about that, because guests genuinely appreciate it. So the importance of responding to negative feedback. So as I mentioned, it's something that we can strive to have perfect reviews, but there will always be that one guest or that one customer who wants to complain. It's inevitable to have a perfect score or a perfect reputation. So let's just keep in mind that there are guests that will complain, and it's what you can do to remedy the situation. How can you make that experience a better one? Are you finding a solution to their problem? Are you acknowledging why they're complaining or why they're frustrated? So by being able to do this and connecting deeper with customers, you can still build their trust and deepen that experience. So they'll not only return to your property and increase guest retention, but they'll be telling their friends and their family. We did run into this problem, but the hotel manager was really welcoming and understood our problem and offered us this as a result, or was able to remedy the situation quickly. Those little things make a huge difference, especially for guests. And just another hotelier insight. So how can you prevent negative reviews? So he tells us 3 main things. The first is reality equals expectations. So I'll talk about expectations on the next slide. But essentially, never create false illusions or never create an offer higher than what you can deliver on. It's easy, especially playing with marketing, and especially kind of playing with different verbiage to make things sound great and opulent and wonderful. But if you can't deliver on what you're telling your guests, they'll end up disappointed. So it's better to kind of under-deliver and wow them than to kind of over-deliver and disappoint them. The second is identify weaknesses and take actions to eliminate them. So one thing that we love at Travel Appeal is seeing those negative comments. We love to pinpoint exactly why guests are unhappy or exactly what is causing them a frustration. So you can see and remedy the situation as quickly as possible. It allows you to see, okay, what are we doing wrong, or what could we be doing better, and reduce those problems and to stop them from reoccurring. The third is that each and everyone plays a key role, which goes back to staff. So make sure that all of your employees, no matter what department they're in, feel like they can trust, and if they see an issue, make sure that they come forward, because those tiny issues that they see might become a larger issue for a guest down the road. And as I mentioned, ensure that you're sharing with them guest reviews as well, especially if they're directly related to them, both positive and negative ones. So as I mentioned, they can see what they're doing well, but also take steps to improve if things could be better. So moving on to expectations. So what are they? Where do they come from? And how can we exploit them? So I'll just share a few different touch points where expectations come from, which are your hotel's website, online portals where your hotel is active, reviews written by guests on review channels, social media, and emails and communication you exchange with your customers. And the last one could be a direct email, a personal email, or it could be more of a marketing initiative if you send out a newsletter. So most of these touch points can be monitored, controlled, and managed. So make sure that you're adding descriptions and photos on your website, on online portals, so guests can see exactly what your property is, so they won't be surprised or they won't be disappointed when they do get there. If you are promising something above and beyond, it will only kind of lead to a disappointed guest down the road which will eventually lead to a negative complaint or a negative review. So don't create expectations higher than those you can deliver. As I mentioned, it's better to tell them exactly what you offer and then deliver a wonderful experience that will keep them coming back and that will have them raving on online review channels. Which takes us into the human factor. So we at TravelFeel, as I mentioned, we love data. We conducted a study looking at 13.5 million online reviews at hotel properties. And within there, we found the most common topics, which were rooms, location, services, hospitality, catering, so that's your room service, food and beverage options, the costs, Wi-Fi, and cleaning. So it may come as no surprise, hospitality was the most discussed topic. So the human factor is important. It is something that guests really want to feel a personalized experience. They want to feel listened to. They want to feel appreciated, because at the end of the day, they're choosing to spend their time and their money at your property. So you can see here of hotels, hospitality was mentioned in 21% of reviews, but with a very positive sentiment, 94.2. So that shows that hoteliers are listening and are doing their part to offer that guest experience and to not only meet their expectations, but exceed guest expectations. So we throw the word in marketing customer journey around a lot. It's something that we've heard, but it's really something that I think is always worth repeating, because there are so many touch points sometimes we don't think about during the customer journey. For example, parking, that's usually the first experience guests have when they arrive at the physical property. So is there free valet offered or a valet service? If so, what is the charge? Is it included in their room? If there's no valet, is there a parking lot on site? Or do they need, if it's in a larger city, perhaps they need to find parking where it's convenient around another block. Little touch points like that do make a big difference. But I just wanted to point out that clients who feel listened to and appreciated not only return into repeat customers, but they'll tell their friends and tell their family and become an advocate of your brand. And what reputation really comes down to is your brand's reputation. So listening to a customer's problems and offering them a fantastic experience, certainly an offer and the price is important, but that experience, that's something everyone who is a part of the customer journey can control. So never take them for granted. And that goes both online and offline. So that's one thing I do want to mention as well. So the customer journey, when we look at that, it's also looking at your followers' journey or your social audience journey. So that's if you have people on your social media channels comment back. You know, they love to feel listened to. They love to feel heard. If people are tagging or liking your photo, you know, perhaps create a campaign that will inspire them to travel there. It's little things like that that really go a long way. I also wanted to share quickly the customer journey, kind of Google's outlook of it for the travel industry. And the 5 main stages are dreaming, planning, booking, experiencing, and sharing. So that dreaming phase is really, especially kind of now, where people have been home, they have not been traveling the last few months. They do have vacation time saved up, and you know they're ready to travel. So it's, you know, finding those campaigns, whether it's on Facebook, and kind of urging them. I know Greece has done an amazing job over the last few months inspiring travels to visit Greece, you know, when the time is ready. And it's little things like that that go a long way, and people will keep in the back of their mind when they are ready to make that decision. The planning. So when you see customers going on your hotel website or on your Facebook page, perhaps you could create a campaign that directly targets them to kind of keep them to keep your property in their minds. The booking phase, that's where you can really interact and connect on a personal level. So if someone asks, you know, what dates are available, or, you know, is it possible to do an early check-in or a late checkout, you can really interact with them and take that as an opportunity to find more about their personal interests. Perhaps they want a specific newspaper delivered to them each morning, or a specific type of water in their room. And so little things like that that really go a long way, which takes us to experiencing. So once they're there on your property, how can you make their stay a memorable one, an unforgettable one, and which would lead them not only to write a good review, but eventually return. So it's making sure that's when engaging your staff, every single person that works at that property that engages with customers, it goes into creating their experience. And then lastly, sharing. So creating a campaign or perhaps a fun hashtag that allows guests to share their photos, and you can reshare them on your social channels. Guests love to feel special and appreciated, so little things like that really do go a long way. So one thing that we like to kind of in the marketing world is engage, respond, and repeat. So when you do have people writing comments, whether it is good or whether it's negative, respond, thank you for coming. We hope to welcome you and your family again. Or, thank you for letting us know about this problem. We're looking into it and we'll remedy it as soon as possible. Or, please give us a call to see what we can do. And they like to feel appreciated and they like to feel listened to. So by speaking to and connecting directly with your followers, with your customers, anyone interacting with your brand, whether it's on a social media level, on a review level, or once they're there at your property, all those tiny little interactions go into creating your reputation and building it. And the more your reputation is known for being welcoming and hospitable, it's a word that we throw around, but it is important in the hospitality industry, the more that they'll come back and they will appreciate their experience, and your brand will appear more personal, which is really important, especially now. So that's kind of it for reputation and overall and customer perception, the impact of revenues, the impact of reviews, etc., which takes us to kind of the bottom line, which is revenue. So by effectively managing your reputation, you can increase revenues. Reputation is not an easy to measure or an easy to kind of find a monetary value of reputation. However, there are statistics that show what a good reputation can do or an improved reputation can do for your bottom line. So the first one is that a 1% increase in a hotel's online reputation score leads up to a 0.89% increase in price, measured by the hotel's average daily rate. That 1% increase also leads to an occupancy increase of 0.54%. And here's where it gets really interesting. That 1% reputation improvement leads to a 1.42% increase in revenue per room. So that's from the Hospitality Research Center at Cornell. It's really interesting information, and it's been looked at from hotels across the world and different types of hotels as well. So not only independent B&Bs, but also larger chains. Another statistic that's really interesting is from Harvard Business School, and it's one that I think is quite tangible for people to kind of go, wow. And that's that a 1-star increase can lead to as much as a 9% increase in a business revenue, which is quite important, especially nowadays, especially the last few months. Hotels have been closed and not operating as normal. So by taking those steps to kind of not only improve your reputation, but continue to build it, create that brand identity that customers want to visit, that can have a huge impact on your revenue. So as I mentioned at the beginning, reputation is not built overnight. It's not something you can buy, it must be earned, and it does evolve over time. But when you focus on things like customer satisfaction, customer engagement, and customer retention, the more your reputation will become stronger and highly perceived, because customers will know that you're putting in the time and the effort to make their stay an unforgettable one and keep them coming back for more. So that is kind of, in a nutshell, the importance of reputation, reviews, customer perception. So I want to talk about Travel Appeal a little bit more. We're a reputation management company. That's our core, is helping hoteliers really kind of see what they're doing well, what they can improve on to create the best campaigns, the best strategies to become efficient and effective and communicate with their customers on a really personal level. So in a nutshell, Travel Appeal, we process millions of data from over 100 different sources. So those sources could be social media channels, review channels, OTAs. We also look at external factors as well. So how do events impact your property, or how does weather impact your property, or as well arrivals and incoming travelers to your destination. Because we know that reputation is more than reviews. It's effectively communicating your offer to your clients and your existing customers to increase retention. So our platform is a dashboard, which is used for hotels, both individual properties and also chains as well. We do offer a group dashboard level, so you can monitor both at the individual level, but also at the brand level. Deepening the relationship between the customer experience and your hotel property. And one thing that we've created with our semantic engine is customer sentiment. So we want to look at, on a scale 1 to 10, what are customers happy about? What is their sentiment towards, and you can really break it down on a holistic level or more granularly by going down to the cleanliness of the bathroom, or do they have to say about the parking options or the breakfast buffet, etc. Our technology really allows you to dive deep and pinpoint exactly what customers appreciate or what could be improved, or things perhaps that you're putting a lot of time and effort in and it's not really going noticed by your customers. So perhaps it might not be an effective campaign or an effective thing that you've introduced into your hotel. So from our dashboard, you're able to also respond directly to online reviews. So when they're incoming in real time, you can see them on the dashboard and respond directly right from the platform, which is especially helpful when it comes to negative reviews and complaints. So you can remedy the situation in real time. The dashboard also allows you to compare yourself against competitors and see where you rank on kind of a general level, but also you can compare your hotel versus the competitors for specific topics like breakfast or like staff, hospitality, etc. You can break it down by topic. So which takes us to kind of our latest KPI, which is the COVID Safety Index. So it's a KPI that we've created. It's an indicator which will help guide hotels and destinations as we enter this recovery phase, because there are a lot of unanswered questions and a few doubts about the best way to respond or how are customers perceiving certain services. So essentially what this index does, it measures customer trust and the effectiveness of the actions taken by businesses. So for instance, if your hotel does have a restaurant, are clients able to eat in the restaurant, or is it room service only, etc. So you can anticipate tomorrow by taking all the strategies and how they're being perceived in today's world. So we look at kind of the management and the protocols of sanitation, waiting times, queues, the lines outside, reopening timetables. So are you opening right now at the beginning of this phase, or are you taking a little bit more time to reopen when things pick back up? We also look at the services offered. So for instance, the gyms or the pools or the spas might be closed or might be limited based on the sanitary regulations in place. So this indicator is really taking all of those things into consideration and seeing exactly how customers feel, how they're perceiving your offer and how they're perceiving these services during this phase, and providing a quality score to help you really understand what your actions are doing that is doing well, or for instance, you can pinpoint, something that might need to be improved as we continue in the reopening phase. That concludes the presentation. Please let me know if you have any questions. I will go back quickly. to see if there's any questions or just raise a hand. Don't see any questions in the Q&A. But please take this time if there's any questions or if I said anything that was unclear. If not, you can also contact me directly by phone or by email. I'm happy to answer any questions about travel appeal, about the hospitality conference, or about general questions about reputation, revenue, etc. And I'm sure Nikos will also share my information as well. But if there's no other questions, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time. Most importantly, best of luck as we kind of enter this new phase. It does seem like there is a light at the end of the tunnel here. So best of luck, stay safe. And personally speaking, I hope to visit Greece very soon. Thank you guys for taking the time, and thank you to the Hotelier Academy. Have a great afternoon, everyone.